Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Mando Radio. How you doing, Pops?
Good. How about yourself?
Fantastic.
Good.
So excited. Super happy to be here in our new space.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this, you can't see it, but if you go check out our YouTube channel,
That's true.
Mando Radio on the YouTubes, you can get a glimpse of the backdrop. Doesn't change much over the course of an episode. It's there.
Yeah, and it's a pretty cool backdrop.
Thank you. This is my shrine to Marvel and Star Wars, so to speak. So let's dive right in. We're on episode 3, Revenge of the Mandos. We have a couple of updates. We do have a couple of things. I was having a discussion on Facebook with someone on one of the pages. We were chatting about like what we kind of expect, what we hope to see in the show, some theories. And there's been a theory going around that the Mandalorian, through the course of the film, upgrades his armor. It goes from borrowed pieces of Imperial armor and eventually becomes nice and shiny Beskar material, which is what is traditionally used by Mandalorians because it's lightsaber proof. Lightsabers will reflect off of Beskar.
Oh, okay.
Not normal Imperial armor, clearly, because we know we can slice stormtroopers into bits. And so I kind of thought maybe, because I wasn't paying too close attention to the trailers, maybe the story is backwards. Maybe he upgrades his armor. Maybe he doesn't upgrade his armor. Maybe it's just downgraded. Maybe when we meet him, the flashbacks where the points where he has shiny armor in the trailers are only flashbacks, and he's stuck with his grubby armor. But then, just recently, a few days ago, on social media, specifically Instagram and Twitter and things like that, Disney has put up little clips that show. Let me bring one up here. That show. Oops, I thought there was one thing already. A blacksmith. They actually have a Mandalorian, because they're wearing a Mandalorian helmet, striking like an anvil, and they're actually working some Beskar. So it's kind of ties together with what we saw for what they showed us at San Diego Comic-Con. I don't think this is it. Well, here it is. This is it. This one.
Okay.
This little social media. That's it right there.
Oh, right.
That was it. We just saw it. So this is not the Mandalorian. It's not Pedro Pascal. This helmet style is reminiscent of Bo-Katan from the Clone Wars, and this is a blacksmith who's shaping his armor. So in the footage that they showed us at San Diego Comic-Con, Werner Herzog's character gives the Mandalorian a piece of Beskar as a down payment for a job. And so presumably that's the first upgrade that he gets
to his armor. Okay.
But then this kind of proves, okay, yeah, he's gonna go from zero to hero quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was really, really cool.
Interesting.
To have that come around. Another piece of news on The Mandalorian. Release timing. So this was an interesting observation. So if you go and you look at the countdown for Disney Plus, it says that there's so many days and so many hours. But then if you compare that, and you have to be on the US page, so you have to be on a VPN just to see this countdown. The countdown to The Mandalorian is 3 hours later. So whatever time you're seeing on the Disney Plus launch, add 3 hours, and that's what the Mandalorian countdown is showing.
Oh, okay.
So Disney Plus is supposed to go live November 12th at 6 a.m. Eastern, and that means that The Mandalorian is going to go live, episode 1 will go live at 9 a.m. Eastern on November 12th, 2019. So apologies to my wife, but I'm going to be watching television at 9 a.m. because that's when it comes out.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm watching TV, I'm busy.
Gotta watch it.
Can't not watch it, right? Can't not watch it. All right, let's move on. That's all the Mandalorian news that I have for today. Let's move on. We're going to continue our series of featuring some of the actors and actresses from The Mandalorian. Up next, Gina Carano. And just bringing up her IMDb page here. It's actually really well done. It's a lot better than Pedro's. Hers was very short, like a footnote, but hers is like really long. So we'll just read some of the highlights. From pioneering women's MMA to blazing a trail in movies, Gina Carano is one of Hollywood's most unique rising stars. Carano began her training with Muay Thai to competitive MMA, where she competed in Strikeforce and UFC. Her popularity led to her being called the face of women's MMA, and she was the fastest rising search on Google and the third most searched person on Yahoo. That's not relevant anymore. Who cares about Yahoo?
Yeah.
Ranked 5th on the list of the top 10 influential women of 2008. And now she's in movies. Right. She was in Fast and Furious 6, opposite Dwayne Johnson. And then most recently, her biggest movie role has been in Deadpool, opposite Ryan Reynolds. So, yeah. And then last episode, we read the article from Us Weekly, so
That she's excited about being in the show.
very, very excited. A couple of things worth noting. In April of 2012, she received the first Chuck Norris Award for Best Female Action Star. Did you know there were Chuck Norris Awards?
I had no idea.
I kind of want one now. How do I get a Chuck Norris Award? Come on, hook me up. I'll probably need to start working on playing it one of those.
Probably.
Yeah, I'll get on that.
Okay. Get back to martial arts.
Something. Get started with martial arts. My kids are more advanced than me. All right, let's move on to reflections on Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Following our series of reflecting on the prequel trilogy and original trilogy. So when you think about Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, the final prequel trilogy episode, what do you think of first?
I think it was one of the better of the three from the prequels, and I also feel like, I mean, obviously they had to do this, but I think they did a pretty good job of setting the stage for what actually happens in Episode 4. I mean, just kind of, there's a bunch of places where you kind of go, oh, I see, you know, creation of Darth Vader, some of the other things that you see happening where, you know, the kids are entrusted to, you know, Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru, and I mean, just a lot of the pieces come together. So there was some sense of satisfaction in seeing, okay, I see how they've set it up for Episode 4.
Yeah, definitely. The first things that come to my mind, I love the opening scene, the space battle. It's very, I'm not even sure what the right reference is because it's unique to Star Wars a little bit, but where it's just like diving headfirst in this massive battle, and they end up on Grievous's flagship, and they have to dispatch of Count Dooku to get the Senator free. They have to make Grievous run away. That opening scene, I love that. That was so awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next things that I think about when I think about this movie is Emperor Palpatine. He becomes Emperor in this film, and then his final encounter with Anakin going to the dark side, becoming Darth Vader. Mace Windu losing an arm at Anakin's hand. And then, yeah, like you mentioned as well, the last thing that I kind of think of is Luke and Leia getting delivered to the Barus and then the Organas as well. But lots of happy memories with this one. Definitely enjoyed this episode. Of the prequels, it's probably neck and neck, Episode 1 and Episode 3 for me, because it was, how many years? 6 years, I think it was.
That sounds right? Because this one's 2005.
2005.
This is 2005.
So from 99 to 2005, I probably watched The Phantom Menace a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But then after Revenge of the Sith came out, I watched that one a lot too.
Right.
So we're probably neck and neck from 1 to 3.
Yeah.
Probably the most watched prequel episodes for me. But yeah, all around I loved it. Loved, especially the battle sequence, the lightsaber duel with Obi-Wan and Anakin.
Mm-hmm.
And they practiced that like
Mm-hmm.
crazy. That was just amazing. And then the end result. It was really, really well done.
Mm-hmm.
And Ewan McGregor's portrayal of incorporating as much of Alec Guinness as he possibly could, I thought he did a great job too.
Yeah.
Really, really came into that role, into that character.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently Disney agrees as well with that assessment, because I'm not sure if you're aware, there's an Obi-Wan Kenobi series that's going to be coming to Disney Plus.
Right.
You heard about that?
Yeah, I did. And they're trying to get Ewan, or do they have Ewan to participate in? Or
So at D23, when they announced the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, I didn't call it a show, I call it a series. He's known about this for 4 years. So he's been having to like lie to people.
mm-hmm.
Everyone's like, "Oh, they should get you. You should go and tell them you want to do it." And he's had to like keep a tight lip because
Mm-hmm.
they've been in talks, and he's been like he wants to do it, obviously. So
okay.
for 4 years apparently.
Right.
So yes.
Okay.
Yes, they've got him.
That's a good thing.
He's in. That's gonna be a great show, a great series. So we probably don't need to start a new podcast for that. We'll just talk about that on this one.
Oh, okay.
If you don't mind watching that show as well.
Yep.
All right.
And that's not coming out at the same time because they haven't
No.
done shooting or anything. Like this is going to be a ways down the road. Have they given a timeline yet?
We don't even have a name of the show.
Oh,
yet.
okay. So that still is a way off then.
I think I was just watching an interview with the directors and the cast of The Mandalorian, and they mentioned they had a director. Or IGN just posted an article about this. Well, let's see. I think it's 2021. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Expected to debut in 2021. It may be as far as 2022
Mm-hmm.
before we see him on Disney Plus. However, Kathleen Kennedy has indicated 2020 start date for production. So 2021 might be more realistic for
Right.
you to actually see it, but it's confirmed that Ewan has the role. So that's going to be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be just like as awesome as as much as I'm excited for The Mandalorian, how
Mm-hmm.
awesome that looks.
Yep.
It's going to be the same but different because it's going to be Tatooine.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be Tusken Raiders. It's going to be Jawas. It's going to be Jabba the Hutt
Mm-hmm.
because it's Obi-Wan Kenobi on
Right.
Tatooine.
Right.
He'll probably leave and go off and do a couple things, but he'll always be coming back. Right? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's like exactly like what Rey is trying to do in the first in The Force Awakens.
Mm-hmm.
Always trying to get back to Jakku.
Right.
He's always gonna have to go back to Tatooine to make
Yep.
sure he keeps an eye on old Luke there. What do they call it? Wormy. In the deleted scenes from A New Hope and in the original script and in the novelizations, Luke's friends at Tashi Station, that Uncle Owen says you can waste time with your friends another
Yeah,
time.
some other time. Yeah.
They call Luke Wormy. His derisive nickname.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I just remembered
interesting.
that. Yeah, not very good friends.
No.
I don't want to be nicknamed Wormy.
No, exactly.
Lousy. Alright. That is it for our reflections. Merchandise review. This one's tough for me. I'd like to always talk about merch that's pertinent to that particular episode. It's going to be a lot easier to talk about the original trilogy.
Right.
Episode 1 was super easy. This one's tough because this is where we kind of tapered off on the action figures. 2005, yeah, just wasn't feeling it as much, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And other priorities. Although we do have a couple of them here on the table. Probably my favorite Hasbro figure has definitely got to be the third degree burn victim Anakin Skywalker.
He does look pretty bad, too.
He could probably look worse.
Yeah.
I think the legs are detachable. It hasn't been opened yet. I wouldn't be surprised if the legs come off.
Yeah, they probably do. And that's the
missing-
thing, too, when you think about it. Wait a minute, this is for kids, so you don't want to make it too gruesome.
Right. Or do you? So that was a good one when that one came out. That was pretty epic. And then, of course, they had an opportunity to go back and do some nice soft goods. Really get a solid Darth Vader. And they did. They delivered, I think. So, of course, we have these ones. Technically, that's a Darth Vader figure, too. He's already pledged himself to the dark side.
That's right.
But, oh, and Palpatine's lightsaber. That was cool. How he's got it like, it's almost like it's spring-loaded up his sleeve, but it's probably just the Force. He's just using the Force to extract it. But
Yeah.
that was cool.
Yeah.
So that's it for merchandise review. Let's move on to tech review. Some interesting technology that was featured in episode 3. For me, we saw the starships. The big capital ships are cool. Not much to talk about with them though. Buzz droids were interesting. You know, it was kind of different.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of just a bomb, some kind of sabotaging droid that
Right.
would latch itself onto your ship. That was interesting. But I think probably the coolest piece of technology that I really enjoyed seeing was all of the Emperor's medical droids that put Darth Vader together. And they show that in quite a bit of detail. We see Anakin in discomfort as he's having his leg fused on and such
Right.
things.
Yep.
So that was probably, for me, that was the coolest. Those droids, unfortunately, he destroys them in his anger. But to see that, how that actually happened, that was cool.
Mhm.
To actually put that on the screen,
Yeah.
that was really, really awesome.
Yeah.
So for me, it was the biomedical technology of all things.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I would not have expected that, having watched it so many times. But when I really think about it, there's nothing else really that stands out in my mind aside from just them assembling Darth Vader
Mhm.
technologically.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
That was new and
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's it. You got anything for us?
No, not really for this one. Again, I just remember when watching it, whatever it was, 14 years ago, thinking that they did a good job of just tying things up and connecting things that you were going to see in episode 4. I felt that they didn't really leave out anything. There weren't any loose ends where you kind of thought, no, wait a minute, how did that end up in whatever, right? Like whether it's R2-D2 and C-3PO or Darth Vader or, the twins, like all of that stuff. I felt like they kind of, put a little bow on it in preparation for what we end up seeing in episodes 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah, that's a good point. George really put an emphasis on making sure that he covered all the bases,
Mm-hmm.
didn't leave anything hanging, which was kind of the point of doing the prequels to begin with.
Yeah, exactly.
It was his story from the start, and he knew how all the pieces fit together. So incorporating that into the script, and then making sure it ended up on the screen and not on the cutting room floor.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty significant. Apparently, I remember now, one of the battles, I can't remember which one, one of the lightsaber battles was actually longer, but they trimmed it because it was too long.
Oh.
I forget which one it was. It might have been Obi-Wan and Anakin, I can't recall.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I remember that because it didn't serve the story. Like the film dragged on or something like that.
Right.
But worth mentioning as well, as we reach the close of the prequel trilogy, what a treat it was to have John Williams back again and doing the score for the
Right.
prequel trilogy.
Yeah.
Very, very spoiled to have the wonderful music that he is able to just, wow, what a genius.
Yeah.
That man is amazing.
Yeah,
to be able to come up
absolutely.
with that.
I want to say more about that when we look at episode 4 too.
Oh yeah?
Like just John Williams and the remarkable music and internationally recognized and yeah.
Yeah. Because they have him for the sequel trilogy too. So it's going to be a sad day when we lose him. How old is he now? He's got to be up there.
I looked that up. I want to say he's in his 80s.
I think he's older than that.
You think he's in his 90s?
He's born in 1932.
32. So actually, that's the same year as my dad.
Oh, no way.
Yes way.
Uh,
So 87.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he's 87
Yep,
years
87.
old. Wow.
Yep.
Crazy.
Pretty crazy. And if you look at the films that he's done music for, and they're just iconic films. And I mean, you can hear a few notes and you know exactly what it is.
Oh, yeah. Who composed it? And absolutely.
Right. Yep.
Never mind the films. Let's look at the awards for a second here.
Mm-hmm.
1971, Fiddler on the Roof, Best Scoring Adaptation and Original Song Score. 1975, Jaws, Best Original Dramatic Score. 1977, Star Wars, Best Original Score. And this is the Academy Awards, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
1982, E.T., The Extraterrestrial, Best Original Score. 1993, Schindler's List, Best Original Score. So that was the Oscars.
Well, and he's had over 50 Oscar nominations. So
Yeah, no, I would just read the wins.
yeah,
The list is much long. We'd still be here. We'd be here till tomorrow if we read all the nominations too.
Yep.
And he's won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 BAFTAs, 3 Emmys, 4 Golden Globes. $23 Grammys.
that's
You're
pretty.
just like throwing them at him.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy when you think about it.
He won 3 for Star Wars in 1978.
Mm-hmm.
Main title, Best Instrumental Composition, Best Pop Instrumental Recording, Best Original Score written for a motion picture or a television special.
Mm-hmm.
3 Grammys
Right.
in 1978.
And in 2005, the year we're talking about, the American Film Institute selected his score for Star Wars, the 77 movie, as the greatest American film score of all time. So there you go.
And in 2005, he was nominated for a Grammy for Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban,
Right.
Best Score Soundtrack Album for Motion Picture, Television, Other Visual Media.
Yep.
Oh, and then he won in 2016 for The Force Awakens, got
Mhm.
nominated for The Last Jedi, and nominated for a song from Solo as well.
Right.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, we're so spoiled with the music in Star Wars. So spoiled. There is some music I want to visit when we get to the end of episode 6. We'll talk about it later, but I wanted to highlight one particular track that did not end up on the soundtrack for The Force Awakens
Oh.
because we're on the subject of music. But we'll talk about that when we get to the end of Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
Return of the Mandos. So, alright, I think that's all I've got for today. You got anything else for us?
No, I don't think so. That's pretty much what I wanted to cover today, and then also just mention that for the next one, I do want to say a bit more about John Williams. So,
It's no problem.
okay.
Welcome to it.
Okay.
I might even have the LP behind you. You can
Yeah, I was gonna
get
say.
that out.
Yeah, I mean, well,
I might not have it. I might have Empire and Jedi. I don't think I have Star Wars, but
okay.
New Hope.
Yeah.
Anyway, you ready?
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us.
We hope you'll join us next time.
The Force will be with you.
Always.